Welcome to the Women in Business radio show with Sian Murphy, connecting women in business around the globe.
Hello and welcome into the Women in Business radio show studio. I've got the giggles now. I've got absolutely no idea why. Let me introduce my co-host. Hello, Adelle. Say hello, Adelle. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
So I'm Adelle and I'm an executive midlife coach dealing with women, business women going through the M word, the menopause.
Yes, and well, I mean, it's like menopause soup in here today, isn't it?
I'm afraid it is today.
Okay. Also in the studio with us today, we've got Fiona Shoults, who is the founder of Microblading or More, isn't it? Welcome, Fiona.
Thank you.
We're going to just very quickly ask Fiona to explain what it is that she does, because I like to put people in little pigeonholes, don't you? I think it's quite good. So Fiona, tell us a little bit about what you do and who you do it with.
Okay, well, it's a bit of a big pigeonhole, really. All things beauty, so skin and aesthetics, so eyebrows, and now working in scar camouflage as well.
And you also you help women who have been dealing with breast cancer, yes, because you do nipple tattoos and all sorts of bits and pieces.
Just helping people feel better about themselves again.
So now that we know what you do, we can put you into context. Part of what we're going to be discussing today, and obviously we haven't planned any of this, we had 2 minutes whilst we were waiting to go on air. One day we're going to plan it, but the one day we did, it was terrible, wasn't it? Oh, it was so dull. It was really dull, wasn't it? It wasn't at all spontaneous. Nobody fell off the chair. Nobody wet themselves.
David menopause coach.
Yeah. So I think it's good to keep it fresh, don't you?
Absolutely.
We are going to talk. I'll tell you what we're going to talk about. We are coming up to. It is event season. It's event season because simply traditionally it is event season. It's when everybody starts going out thinking about marketing themselves at events, but also because we haven't been doing an awful lot of that, have we?
No, I thought last year was like just coming out of a lockdown. It was like a bit dress rehearsal. This year feels really much more focused around events. There's a lot coming through you, and a lot of women are going, actually wouldn't want to do it now. So yeah, I'm getting lots of questions, and I get lots of questions. Where are you going? And also, how do you do it, etc. So that's why we thought
we'll talk about that.
We will, because that's what they want.
I'm always talking about some tips and tactics and what to do at events. Does anybody listen? Of course not.
But this year, everyone seems really fired up about events.
So either they don't believe me or I'm talking rubbish.
Considering you run very good events, probably not. I think they're ready. I think it's this year they're ready for it.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think I've been years? I've been waffling on about this years. However, we're still there. I could branch out into boot fairs, couldn't I? That was suggested to me actually over the weekend that I might. What you really did is just a boot fair, isn't it? Well, suppose it could be, couldn't it? Right, okay, but we won't dwell on that. I reckon it's very hard to run a boot fair, actually. I don't think I'm capable of running a boot fair. I think there'd be crashes and deaths.
I think there would be. It's very early starts.
Very early starts, mud, wind. I'm not good enough to run a boot fair. No. I've got to be indoors where there's coffee.
Yeah.
Electricity. Mm-hmm. Preferably wine.
Yeah.
Bag of crisps, that sort of
Definitely
thing.
Not boot fair then.
No. Phew. It's all good. So how can you listen to us? Do you want to tell people how they can listen to us?
Yeah, so as always, you can listen to us on Spotify, quite proud of that one, Audible, Alexa, but you have to add the skill. We added that this week, Apple Podcasts, and of course, Spreaker.
When you say you have to add this, do we have to add the skill or do they have to?
No, I do at home. No, we don't. God
I think I should know because I'm always chatting away to Alexa.
No, you have to add the play the Women in Business show skill to your own Alexa app. We can't do that for them.
Oh, we ought to have. Let me just make a little note of that here. We ought to perhaps tell people, thank you, how to do that play. So you have to add the. So we're already set up as a skill, are we? I'm useless, aren't I?
Just add it.
Add as a skill. So you're proud that we're on Spotify. I personally, we're on Audible.
There we are. Yep.
I think that's and Heart. We're on Heart Radio as well.
Yep.
I'm quite pleased with that one.
Mm-hmm.
We are. We're everywhere.
Yes, not to listen to us
omnipresent.
There's no excuse not to listen, is there?
So how can you can also connect with us on Twitter. We are Wib Radio Live. On Instagram we are Women in Business Radio. On Facebook and LinkedIn we are the Women in Business Radio Show. We really should have thought about this at some point. But never mind, no, that would just be too much. I'm going to do a shout out. Seeing as we are talking about events, I am going to do a shout out for my event, and Adelle is a sponsor of that event, and it is the Women in Business Big Show on August the 25th at Longfield Academy. So that is, it's about 15 minutes from London, isn't it? It's just up the road from Ebbsfleet, so you can get in there from St Pancras. It is free to come in if you want to come in and listen to the talks. We also have VIP. We have VIP tickets for £49 a head, and there is some very, very special stuff that you get that nobody else does. You also get to come into the morning welcome with the FSB and the I should have written this down, shouldn't I? The UK policy lead for women in business, and also my local MP, Kelly Tolhurst, will be opening it as well. You get to meet the speakers, you get to meet the exhibitors, and you get to do the same at the end of the event as well, where there's a little bit of a wine reception.
There is.
Which is not as posh as it sounds. There's wine and there's crisps and peanuts. And that's it. Okay, there's nothing really going. But importantly, we have some very special people doing some inclusive workshops that are only for VIPs, aren't they, Adelle?
Yes, I'm doing one of them.
Yes, we're not really mentioning them. We're not really mentioning them, just in case she gets, I don't know, if she trips up on the way, I may have to replace her with somebody. But we have some really, we've got some really cool stuff that nobody else is getting for our VIPs, and of course they get a badge. They get a badge that says VIP.
Yep.
Right, we're done. I've got nothing else to say. What now? I'm going to have to shut down and go. So I think let's go over, and we've got a new format, haven't we?
We have.
Yeah, we introduced this format at about 5 to 11. So we're all good to go. I've got it written down. Have you got it written down?
I have.
Okay. What would be really, really good is if I actually had any answers to go.
I've written my answers down.
To go into this. Okay, I'll tell you what, if you've got stuff, let's just go for it. Do you reckon people who listen to us think we're loopy?
Yep.
Yeah.
We're keeping it real. It is. People want real life.
Either that or we're hysterical.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with our first thing, which is a top tip for being in business.
So for me, my top tip that I do lots of presentations, and they're either an hour long, 10 minutes long, 5 minutes long. My biggest tip is I've got one set of master slides of all the content. So rather than going, I've got to pull another set of slides together, I've got one set of slides, and I will be able from that have it for an hour or 5 minutes or 2 minutes. And I think then that way you're consistent with your message, whether you also it covers from master classes to a radio show to presentations. I think spend time having your master set of slides, and it will just make your life so much easier, and more importantly you then become consistent.
Yeah, that is a really cool tip, actually. Yeah. And then you can just pull them out. Yeah. Pull out what you need, take out what you need, and run with what you actually want. Yeah. I like that. Fiona, have you got a top tip for being in business?
I think if you're in business on your own, especially, is to have a community, one that works with you and for you. So you've always got somewhere to talk about it, because otherwise it can get really lonely. But I'm definitely going to take on Adelle's tip just now. That's on my list.
I wish I had one. I'm sure I
keep losing my list.
I'm sure I have. I think actually, potentially my top tip, one of the things I learnt this week, and it sounds a bit daft, but it's actually having an impact and I need to do something about it, is to pay attention to what you're buying. Because very often, I don't know about you, but I need new computers, or I need new iPads, or I need new phones, and I go out and I get stuff. And I sort of assume that because I'm getting something that's more expensive and newer, that actually I'm getting something that's totally upgraded. And I only realised this week, don't ask me how, that the iPhone that I've got here is only, it's like half the memory of the one I replaced. And nothing, I can't get anything to work. Now, as it so happens, I'm way due for an upgrade anyway, so that isn't really an issue. But I didn't even consider it. I just went in, and that's what I ended up with.
It's assuming it would be better.
Yeah. And I didn't think. I didn't think about, okay, what are some of the implications about this? What am I getting? What's actually a comparison? And I do that quite a lot. And so it's to sort of stop and also ask questions that may sound daft, and you think, well, okay, people may understand, may expect you to know, but I just didn't ask. I didn't ask, what does this 64 gigabytes mean, and what does this 128 gigabytes mean? And how on earth have I ended up with a machine that is so low that I can't put an audio book on it anymore because I've got so many on there? So I'm changing it anyway. It's not a major issue, but it was only as the part of doing that I realised that my newer machine, my newer phone, has got less memory than my older phone. So that's it. Pay attention.
And ask questions.
Yeah, pay attention, ask questions. Where are we up to? We're up tools. Tools.
Yeah, do you want me to go?
Yeah, I think you better, because I can't remember what mine was. I did have a really, really good one.
So I was talking about it this week, actually, and it's a password keeper called LastPass. So it's a bit of software that has all my passwords in, but also it has, you can put private notes in there, etc. But if, say, for instance, if you're going to get somebody to do a piece of work for you, you can let them have access to something without giving them your password, so through LastPass. So for me, it's one bit of software that's enabled me to keep all my passwords and key documents in one place, but also across all my different machines, because it's in the cloud. But also I've asked someone to do a piece of work for me, and I can give them access to Zoho for 10 minutes and bring it back again. So yeah, and do you know what it was though? And you're going to laugh, because this is a running thing between me and you. I started to look for a solution, and then realised the current solution I already had. I just hadn't read the new benefits of it. So
hang on a moment. I would just want to bring you back to a conversation, not mentioning anybody, to a conversation that we had a little while ago, where you said you were using Zoho passwords.
No, I'm at the moment. I'm using LastPass. I don't actually use the Zoho password on it at the moment. I use LastPass on it.
I don't actually like LastPass, but I think that's more to do with me than LastPass itself. It's because nothing ever seems to be updated, and then I couldn't log into it, and my own inadequacies and madness started taking over. I started going nuts. So I did what I normally do at that point, but just throw that out and go and get something else and start again.
Yeah, no, I know why, because I've got a piece of software I can't put Zoho on with my other business, so that's why LastPass sits across the whole bit. So that's why.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's only because I needed to keep something separate, but LastPass goes across the whole lot, and because it goes across all my devices, because like you, I was getting logged out of everything, and I was losing the will to live. It really was. But I went to look for a solution. I put in the criteria, and the first thing that came up was LastPass. I thought, I've already got that. Because as always, you get this software and you don't leverage the capability of it, or even investigate.
I didn't realise that you could write notes in there, actually.
I've got notes in there, journals.
I'm using Keychain for Safari at the moment, and I've been using that for quite some time, which is fine until I want to use Chrome.
Yes, yeah, because I flip between Safari and Chrome.
Every now and then there are certain things that have a little bit of a paddy on Safari on account of it's Safari, let's be honest. And I need to go onto Chrome or Firefox, especially if I need a new browser.
Well, LastPass goes across those different platforms, and I've also so I've got a lot of not just passwords. I've got bank cards. I've got pictures of passports.
I might need to go back to LastPass. Actually, I'm using NordPass at the moment, but I'm having a bit of trouble with that.
But I've got pictures of all my key documents. It's just in one place. But why I also like it, like you said, it goes between Chrome and Safari with ease. And it's got face recognition. So if you are on an Apple device,
has it really?
Yeah.
This sounds quite good.
So that's how thingy. What did I say? Keychain for Safari works. So basically, I can just peer at it, and it will open stuff up. Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what. Another week down the pan.
So I'll make a note of these as well.
Fiona, have you got a tool?
Well, I'm lost after LastPass. I think I need to go and get that. I use Canva all the time. That's something I use for everything. even sending stuff to my friends. It's just I just put everything on Canva, design everything on there, all my posts and everything. So yeah, that's my tool.
Do you know what? I'm going to pick up on Canva. I saw some on Instagram posts. Like there's something called Founder, and they do before and after, basically where someone starts. And they had the woman who done Canva, and how many times over 300 rejections she got for that idea.
Really?
Yeah. Wouldn't
Wow.
you love to go
Really?
back like Pretty Woman and go, I told you so?
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Huge. Big mistake. Huge.
Oh, she's Australian entrepreneur and went to Silicon Valley, and they said no, it'd never go anywhere. I would walk down Silicon Valley if I was her. Go, big mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now
Canva's
she's worth
fabulous.
£8 billion. She is.
Ooh.
Big mistake.
Perhaps we should try and get her on. Okie dokie. Right. It's my turn for a tool, isn't it? Where do I start? There's so many tools in my life, it's difficult to know.
I think you've named most of them already, haven't you?
Difficult to, not all of them. Difficult to know which one to pick. Okay, but I'm going to go for Click, actually, which is a Zoho product, which... for those of you who use Slack, it's a little bit like Slack, but I find it really easy to use. So I use it with my team, basically, as an individual. So I have individual conversations with them, or I can pull people together in a group in Click. And it is, I think it's like a couple of dollars a person to have. And think of it like Facebook Messenger, where you can send an instant message, you can send a picture, you can have video calls, but you can have phone calls, but you can also do screen shares, and there's also a whiteboard, and you can also search. So say somebody sent you like an image or something, and they're saying, what do you think of this? And then you can't find it later on because it's up in the stream of crap that's been going on for the last 6 months. You can actually search for it. So you can search within a conversation, you can search it on Click. And if you have a team where you want them to check in, or you want them to know when you are working, they can say, hey, I'm working, I'm at lunch, I'm doing this, I'm available to collaborate.
So, only because I use a WhatsApp group for my group leaders, and I've got one next to me. Obviously, I've only got me plus one other on Zoho. Can I bring others into Click that aren't on Zoho?
Okay. If you mean on Zoho 1, right? Okay, this is now getting quite granular. Okay, but let's just go with it. So, I would then run that outside of your Zoho 1 account and do it, because every person that is part of your team that is an employee. Well, I don't have employees. I have team members who are freelancers.
Yeah,
so I don't necessarily want them in my Zoho 1 account. No. So I have a separate Click account.
Fine, that's what I'll do then.
Yeah, I have a separate Click account from which I run everything that actually relates to me, whereas my Zoho 1 accounts, and I have more than one of them, they relate to individual businesses. Yeah. So I have one for my events business, I have one for my digital business. This one is actually, they're working directly with me. A lot of the stuff that they're doing is for me, as a person. So you'll need a different email.
Yeah. That's fine.
And do it that, and I think it's about $2 a person. It's a really, really good tool.
Yeah,
really good tool.
Thank you.
That's my recommendation. So, where are we on to now? What do we know now? What do you know now that you wish you'd have known when you started out?
For me, I keep going back. I networked far too wide, and I spread myself too thin when I started networking, because everybody said you have to network, and did, and I didn't allow myself for follow-ups, and also I felt like I lost ground because I was networking in the wrong places. I didn't apply a strategic thinking to it. I just listened, coming out of corporate and going, all you've got to do is you've got to have coffee with everybody, you've got to meet everybody, you've got to do everybody. And I just ran, and that's unlike me, and that's probably the biggest thing I learned. I should have sat back and thought, as always, Adele, what's the problem I'm trying to fix? And I didn't. I came straight out and I networked far too far, and didn't actually build any relationships as I should have done. That's what I should have known.
Okay. Fiona, what do you know now that you wish you'd have known when you started out?
Pretty much the same as that is one of them. But I also feel that doing all that networking helped me to find the right networking, because if you don't do it all, I wouldn't have known where I fitted in. And I think it's good to keep it fresh as well, to keep looking and moving. But another thing as well, I think when I first started, I was trying to advertise for everybody. And I was sort of nervous if someone went to someone else. It's like, why are they going there? But everyone chooses who they need to go with. So there's enough people for everybody. So, yeah, I'm much more chilled about it now. My audience have found me, and that's, I'm happy with that now.
I think with the networking thing, I think my key piece of advice would be is don't spend loads of money and don't join big membership things. I'm not going to name any names, but there are quite a few of them around where there are quite a lot of rules around them actually, and they can be quite expensive.
Yes.
You can end up paying sort of £900,000 a year, and then on top of that you've got you've got the meeting fees, and there's all these rules. You've got to turn up on particular days, and I mean that's why I run my own business, is so that I do what I want to do.
Exactly.
And I've got to turn up to somebody else's agenda. But so just go along, visit, but do lots and lots of it. Go to lots and lots and lots of places before you pick or before you pay a lot of money.
Yeah, and again, I think reflecting what you guys have said probably is I let that go on too long. Probably is I should have thought, actually set myself, I'm going to do.
It gets comfortable, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because sometimes networking is really uncomfortable. We need to put our big girl pants on, and I don't particularly enjoy it a lot of the time. I'm sort of quite happy in my own little space. I'm not very sociable actually. People always assume I am, but I'm not. And so I find that quite uncomfortable. It's quite nice going along when you know somebody and everybody says hello. It's like cheers, isn't it? And everybody knows your name.
It's like cheers.
And it's like, oh yes, I'll just trot off there and I'll have a cup of coffee. That'd be really nice.
And the diary looks full.
Yes, and you can kid yourself, you're getting something done. Hey, I've been networking.
Does it pay the bills?
No. And I think you're absolutely right. But say, okay, when is this? Yeah. So it may well be that you bring a couple of key contacts out of that. Let's call them friends, business colleagues, people that you carry on working with. But it's at some point it's time to move on.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So what do I know now that I wish I'd have known when I started out? I think stuff falls into place. Stuff just falls into place, and you're not expecting it, and suddenly it's like everything opens up. You're in a massive confusion. There's this happening over there. You've got this other project. You're doing that, and thinking, "What am I?" I nearly said a rude word there.
I was going to see that in the office.
Yeah, I do have a little bit of a potty mouth.
That's floating in the air.
Yes, I can see it above my head. But I had this project going, I had that project going, and the other project going, and all the time I'm thinking, I've got too many projects. I'm not quite sure what this is. It's all sort of disparate, and nothing have got anything to do with each other. And then over the course of the last few months, bearing in mind I've been doing this quite some time, really not very successfully, over the course of the last few months, I had some really strange conversations that just sort of stuck with me. And as a result of those conversations, suddenly I realised it was all joined together. And it's like, oh, okay. And I just wait. Go with your gut instinct. If something feels right, go and do it. Even if there's another bit of you that's going, hey, you're spreading this too thin, you shouldn't be doing this. If it sort of feels right anyway, just go with it and listen to what people say to you, even when they are people in the most unlikely places saying the most unlikely things. Those are the little gems that very often bring it all together. And they may not be business people either. They may not have anything to do with your business. They may not know about business, but they'll say something. They may push a button.
Yeah.
They may push a button. They may be being horrible. They may not be being horrible. They may just have said something that's pushed your button. You think, oh, that's horrible. Don't be like that. But that isn't what they meant.
I agree, absolutely.
And suddenly it's like, oh, okay, but you have to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. And I echo that as well, because we're in our business and you've got probably the next people around you that are involved in your business but not in your business, and you say something and say, well, actually, but I see it like this, and you're like, oh, yeah. Because you're in your business and you're on your business and you're running through it, and somebody's just a step away and they say to me, well, I see this, and this. I'm like, oh, you're so right.
Yeah.
So easy to miss stuff, isn't it, when you're in
And if somebody says something and it does push your button, and you can feel yourself getting up on your high horse, which I often do, very big horse, quite a lot, actually listen to, if you're overreacting, it may well be time to go, I wonder if they're speaking the truth.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And sometimes you do that because actually you know that they're right, because in some ways you've been thinking that anyway.
Yeah. If they hadn't touched a nerve, you wouldn't be reacting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
you just need someone else to verbalise it sometimes.
Yeah, and so just listen to conversations coming from strange places where you might not have been expecting it, where you might have overreacted, where you might have got defensive, where you might have gone, oh, I love that. Doesn't really matter, but if you've had some sort of reaction, have a look, because very often it's all of those little clues that will pull the whole of what you're doing together into, are we allowed to say purpose?
Yeah. To me, it all brings it, because you're right. When you start to do things, you've got things all over the place, and I'm in the same situation as you. And 3 weeks ago, somebody said to me, "But I see it like this," and all of a sudden, that one thing just pulled the whole thing together, and now I've got complete focus, and that was it. Actually, nothing stopped. It's the way I bucketed.
Yeah, and nothing changed.
No, I just bucketed it all together and put my energy into it. I'm like, you're right. That's what I'm doing. That's what it was.
So stuff falls into place. Actually, people fall into place as well.
They do, and they leave and they come and they go.
And they come and they go, and people arrive, and some of them stay. I'm still trying to get rid of her over there. No, but it's true. People arrive when you don't expect them, and you have a feeling, and you think, oh, okay, right, and things just sort of move off in the right direction, and you've just got to go with it. So stuff falls into place. It sometimes can take a very long time, and you just have to go with it. That's it. I'm done. We haven't got anything else there, have we? No, we're now on to... Okay, so I do find this a bit unnerving. I'm going through a list here of stuff. It's not flowing, is it?
No, it is, because we're going
Do you reckon
event season now?
We are. So it says here, discussion topic, reminder, key questions. That's really dull, isn't it? So I wish this was my idea, but it wasn't. It was Adele's idea. She said, we are, what? I'm going, oh my God, what are we going to talk about? She said, well, we are going into event season, and we do have some events coming up. Events I'm running, events Adele is involved with, and events that Fiona has been involved with in the past. So I tell you what, it all fits. It's all quite cosy, isn't it? It's all quite cosy.
And lots of people have been asking me questions about the event. So, how do I get stalled? How do I do this? And I think it's, again, rather than saying you just turn up, it's a lot more strategic than just turning up.
So I think that is a really, really good thing to talk about, because Fiona, last year was your first time exhibiting at the Women in Business big show. I mean, it's a big show. It's not a massive expo, so we're not talking, we don't have thousands of exhibitors, we're not connected, we don't have people zooming in on, it's not a hybrid event, we're not connecting with millions of women around the world yet. It's big, but sort of, I think, friendly and cosy. It's friendly, but I think it can still be quite unnerving for your very first time to exhibit anywhere. It doesn't actually really matter how big it is. It doesn't matter whether it's 10 people, whether you're doing something at your local networking group, or whether there's 100 exhibitors or 200 exhibitors. It can still be quite unnerving. You're getting yourself out there and you don't quite know what to do. So I thought, let's just start talking about that, and perhaps we can talk about your experience when you first realised that you were going to be exhibiting, and were going to be exhibiting, what you thought about, and what you brought, and what, sort of how did you prepare for it, and what the reality was.
Yeah, even though I've been there before, hadn't I, on someone else's stand, so I kind of knew what to expect. And then someone, I think it might have been you, said I had to have a stand. I should have a stand. I think next time I'll spend more time on my stand. I had a lot of stuff on there which probably I needed to have more of a focus. Okay. And I think having done some of your little smaller events, I know now that I need more of a focus, so that's definitely what I'll do next time I do it. But I wasn't really on there very often, so people did take cards, and I did get some follow-ups from it, which was good, which I didn't expect because I hadn't spoken to them. But yeah, I think it's definitely interacting with the audience as well.
So the first thing there is that struck me was there are lots of speakers at this event, so there's actually quite a lot to do. And it's thinking about what you want to get out of the event, And do you want to do a bit of both? Do you want to go and connect with other people? Do you want to listen to some of the speakers? So it may well be that you partner up and you take somebody else along with you.
Yeah, I did consider that as well.
Which is the first thing. The second thing is that even when you weren't there, stuff happened.
Yeah.
People were able to get stuff from your stand and were able to connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Through a business card, or perhaps you have an email sign up or something along those lines. Now, you said about your focus.
Yeah.
What did you do, and what would you have preferred? So let's actually talk in. Oh God, I'm going to say granular again. I've got to stop. I've got to stop. We've been granular now for about 2 weeks. I've got to get rid of that word.
Detail.
No. So, how thinking about sort of what you made a decision to bring along. Yeah. What worked and what should you actually have done, looking back now? Because
I do a little bit of everything, I think I said at the beginning, I've got quite a big pigeonhole because I started somewhere and moved on. So I bought a bit of everything. But when I've concentrated more on one thing, that seems to be better. So if someone asks me about something else, then yes, I'll talk about it. But to actually exhibit, I would just bring one thing and concentrate on that.
So your focus of your stall would be around that one area. Yeah. But you're right, but you could obviously have your list and your wider, but actually the centre of the table is the problem. For that strategy, the problem you want to fix.
Yeah, I think I was a bit confused last time. I just sort of brought everything.
Less is more, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's another thing, is that exhibiting is... It's a learning curve, isn't it? Yeah. And so for goodness sake, if you are exhibiting for the first time, start off small. Don't spend a huge amount of money. Don't go to an expo for £2,000 and because you've got to learn. You know, unless you've got a load of experience anyway in a former life doing this, or there's just a learning curve that you need to go through. Yeah. Not only about what to focus on, but also what it's going to feel like when you're there. People they get pull-up banners, they get shell systems. I was going to say shell suits. They've got
shell suit.
It's never going to go well, is it, in a shell suit? Very sweaty.
I might bring mine out.
I know what I'm wearing at the show.
Yeah. Oh no, we're not going to have shell suits, are we? But it's not just about what you've got with you and what your focus is and the preparation that you've done beforehand. It's also about feeling comfortable when you get there and sort of knowing what to do with yourself and who to chat to and all of that. You just need to learn it. You just need to experience and get that sort of exhibitor muscle going where you start to feel comfortable with it. So start off small. Have small, sort of mini investments because you're just learning.
Yeah,
you're just learning.
I think it's the fear of missing out as well, isn't it? So initially, when I came, I was thinking, if I don't bring that, someone might want to know about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, those people will find you if they need to. So
yeah, I think with what to bring and what to focus on and what to have, available so that you can talk about it. I think remember you have space under a table. So it's not just, it doesn't all have to be on the table. So it could be that you start having a conversation with somebody and you've got a little portfolio that relates to what it is they're interested in. Oh, hang on a minute, look, have a look at this. So it doesn't all have to be out there in some fantastic display.
No, exactly. When I prepared earlier as such, but if you've got an iPad with photographs, then you just flick it out. But you don't, until someone asks you, don't overwhelm their senses and
it can confuse them as well, can't it? They look and they don't know.
If you go with, I'm just having a conversation. We're all here. We're all at an event. I'm exhibiting. You're visiting, or you're the exhibitor next to me. You're just chatting, and out of that conversation, out of that chat, little things start to emerge, which help you to get an idea of where they are, which may be totally different to what you've decided to focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. And they may say to you, "Well, I want that treatment," and you go, "Why?" And they go, "Because this." Well, actually, it's not that treatment. Perhaps it's this one.
Yeah.
But you do that by open questions and asking them why they want that treatment.
It's all in the conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Conversation.
That's all it is. And I think if sometimes people they spend quite a lot of money on exhibiting and they expect that the return on their investment is going to be sort of quite immediate. Then they're going to spend £2,000 and at the end of the day they're going to have £2,000 worth of sales. And it just really doesn't happen like that. It really doesn't. And it's more about the conversations that you're going to have. And if you do spend £2,000 on exhibiting, are you going to have £2,000 worth of conversations.
Likely, and this is a very long exhibition. I can't even say that.
Yeah. Are you going to come out of it with £2,000 in your pocket? You're not.
No. And that's, again, before you even get to the venue, you're sitting down with a piece of paper and go, what's the problem I'm trying to fix?
Yeah.
Why am I there? And also, what does good look like? So if you are going there to build your email list, then make sure you got the tools and techniques to get the email. You know, because sometimes you go, yeah, that's what, okay, well, how are you going to do that then? So for me, I think the hard work starts before you, as soon as you sign the form, I'm coming, you pay your fee, you sit down with a piece of paper before you even start pulling the table or the banners up. And people worry about the leaflet. I say, no, it's the few steps before that.
Yeah, and also, I mean, this is a conversation that I have with people that are considering booking in, is pull up banners, leaflets, gonks, whimsies, branded pens, goodness knows, you know, knickers with your logo on them, whatever it is. Yeah, whatever it is that you are thinking of spending money on, just stop. Because I have seen people at events have far more success connecting by getting their crayons out and putting their story on a vision board or doing something along those lines, getting some little postcards and putting their story out. We're women. We like to chat.
Yes.
But we like to have something to chat about, and we like to see somebody's story, and that is very often what we talk about. And if people can see that, it will generate a conversation. You are also more likely to get sales because people can understand where you're coming from. You make a deeper connection. Don't go and spend fortunes on stuff. You know, I saw some brilliant stuff last year. You know, cards on handmade paper where they chopped them up and just with a nice fountain pen written the name on them. No design fees. No. All right, there was perhaps potentially more time, you know, but who knows? You know, you do that sort of thing in front of the telly with your wine, don't you? And
it's personal touch, isn't it?
It is. And, you know, so think about the preparation that you're going to need and don't go rushing to get stuff designed and printed. Pull-up banners. You know, does anybody even see a pull-up banner anymore? If you've got one of them,
it's a backdrop.
What I always say to people is if you've got them, bring them. Because they're not going to do any harm. They're there, as you say. They provide a they provide a backdrop. If you haven't got one, don't worry about it. Go to the range, get some cards, get a big piece of card, and start getting creative. Put stuff on there and think about it through there. Yeah. Rock Solid stand last year, it was brilliant, wasn't it? There wasn't a banner in sight, but they had got out their stuff, their crayons, their pictures. They had been really, really creative. And if you're listening, Rock Solid, that's Laura and Barry Ash. We're really looking forward to seeing you again this year. But they just got creative, and it sparked conversation. Yeah. That you're looking for stuff that sparks conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And I think sometimes that's why when I say to people like, oh, what the first thing, can I have the details of where you've done the leaflet or the banner? No. Why are you exhibiting? What's the problem? And everybody comes to that for a conversation. Even more so now after lockdown. And that was the biggest thing on last year's show was, like Fiona said, there was a lot of people milling around and having conversations. And actually there was a lot of so there were a lot of exhibitors working and buying from each other before anybody comes through the door. We were doing that. That's the difference, I think, and I think that would be even more different to watch that this year. Create a conversation, and that could be with a stall holder next to you.
Yeah, and I think one of I must say I'm asked this question most often, but this is the question that I notice, I suppose, which is. People say to me, how many people are coming in through the door? And I say, it doesn't matter. No. It doesn't matter whether 500,000 people come in through the door or 5 people come in through the door, which sounds really, really weird because common sense says actually it does. But if you drill down, I nearly said granular again, if you drill down into what you can possibly hope to achieve on a day, it is to have really 1, 2, 3 really productive conversations that move your business onto the next stage. And that could be with the person, as you've just said, that could be with the person next to you, it could be with a speaker. Very often visitors want to get around and see as much as they can of everything. And I think we so often focus on that we forget the other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Collaborations are important, aren't they?
Collaborations.
The other thing, the question that people never ask me, and it is the critical question, is who is your target audience? Because very often the target audience isn't that obvious. Nowhere on the website, apart from if you're going to look at the sponsor information, and if you're not interested in sponsoring, you're not going to end up there. Nowhere on the website does it say the target market is women over 40. But it is. And that is really, really important, because once you know what that is, now you have an idea of what you're going to focus on.
Yeah.
Now you can think, okay, what are women over 40 likely to want to need? But nobody ever asks me that.
And that's coming back, like you said, before you even think about your leaflet, is get on that piece of paper, start thinking who's there, who's going to be there. And again, a classic is when I came to visit you at your fair and with Raynham, and within 3 or 4 minutes of getting in there, it was like, it's menopause soup.
Yeah, it is. I'd been noticing this for quite some time. So these are my business to consumer events where we have people coming in for healing, for massage, all of that sort of thing. It's all women.
Yeah.
All women over 40. In fact, a lot of it's all women over 50. Now, I thought we were doing something with the advertising on Facebook and this sort of thing, but we're not. It's not. That is just who is coming in through the door. That is just who is being attracted. And perhaps it's because I'm not particularly visible on the advertising. It's not really about me. Shocker! Who knew? But it's not. I'm not visible on any of the leaflets or anything like that. But that just seems to be who we're attracting. So that's what matters.
Absolutely. So when you are on those stalls, and it's looking at the people coming to you, and for me then, because I did my first exhibit, and I was right, who's coming to me in my brain, as I'm talking to them, thinking about their age, what they're like, then the second one come to me, right, there's a pattern, then by the third and fourth come, then you've got the dialogue, so you have to read the room as well, and because you can say all women over 40, but actually I found it was in the higher 40s obviously coming to me, having that conversation. So even when you're in the room, just mentally know who's coming to talk to you. And so you got to get that rich data as well. It's not just about the numbers; it's the quality of those conversations, and that is what I was also doing. Not just going, "Oh, it's really nice. Someone come and spoke to me. Who? Why do they ask? What they're doing?" You have to have that curiosity. You can't be passive at the event, even when you're there. I'm at the event. No, it's where it just starts. And I think sometimes people think they're there. Oh, I've got my banner up. I'm great. I'm just going to wait now. No. Actually, you've got to work that room. It's not passive at all. And I think some people think it's quite. I'm here now, done. No, it's where the fun starts. Yeah.
So talking about when we're there and when the fun starts, it can be quite uncomfortable being at events, can't it?
Yeah.
And we don't quite know what to do with ourselves, do we? And this is something I see quite often. And in fact, I do it myself. So this isn't, I'm the same. Feeling a bit uncomfortable, feeling a bit Billy No Mates, not quite sure what's going on.
Me. Yeah.
Nobody likes me. Get the phone out. Start doom scrolling, but it's a little it's like a little safety mechanism, isn't it? It sort of takes you out of the uncomfortable space in the room. You get a little boost of.
I'm important because someone's sent me a message, and I'm telling the audience that you may not talk to me, but someone is on my phone.
Yes. So I have a friend.
I'm looking at cat pictures.
I really do have a friend. But I'm terrible at it, because also we get a little hit of what is it, dopamine? Yeah, so there you are, you're feeling, oh god, no, everybody else is, everyone else is busy. I'm not. Nobody loves me. They don't know what I'm doing. Oh goodness me, what am I going to do? I know I'll get a little hit of dopamine, but I'm going to connect on my phone, and then nobody will know that I haven't got anything to do. Okay, I have a solution for this, but you have to think of it beforehand. Bring a journal, bring a pen, bring some paper. It's better if it's a journal, because it sort of looks a little bit more professional. not that you're writing your shopping list on the back of a serviette. So bring your workbook. If you have textbooks or that sort of thing that are relevant to what you do, bring that along, because people will if you stick a phone up, it's like, you might as well just put a post-it note on your forehead going F off. But when if you're writing in a book, or if you are reading something that is obviously a textbook, something along those lines to do with your business, it's telling the world, it's telling anybody coming towards you, actually, this is fine. I'm doing business. I'm in my business head mode. So it's okay to come and interrupt me. And then you're keeping like, hi, and you can say something, and that's absolutely fine. But it keeps your hands busy, it keeps your brain busy, it gets rid of ideas that are coming up, it makes you look and feel connected, and it can make you feel a lot more comfortable.
People want to know what you're up to as well, so they come and have a look, see what you're doing. So don't hide it. Have it it out as part of the display. Don't be doing it down on your knees like it's some sort of secret that you're up to. Have it out. You're making notes about your business. You're working in your business. You could be making notes about the client that you've just met and that you've just spoken about, or anything like that at all. So have it out there and do that. It keeps your head and it keeps your hands busy and off your phone.
Yes, what we're saying again. That's active. That's not passive. It's active.
We stop now. What are we going to say?
No. Do you know what? Another thing, and I know we're coming close to the end of the show, is follow-ups.
Really
It's not just packing the car up, you pack in the boot, you put your banners back in for next
wine
year.
time.
Wine time.
What should I get for dinner on the way home?
is follow-up. Follow-up.
Yeah.
And even reflecting and journaling out. So what went well? What would you do next time? Who did I see? What are my follow-ups? And again, if you've got that journal out, then write the follow-ups in there. Start writing those actions. So when you grab that journal and it is tiring, it's a long day. Even if it's the next morning, you open that journal up, you've got all your follow-ups, all the people you spoke to, all the people who gave you business cards, and you just do that the next day. I think sometimes we're not great at following up.
No.
Forget about it, don't we, when we get home?
Yeah, just so relieved that, we're back and, we've got dinner, wine, done. I'm sorted. I've got a couple of... One practical tip is don't rely on Wi-Fi.
No.
Okay, people provide Wi-Fi, but nobody can guarantee that Wi-Fi will work. Nobody. It doesn't matter who they are or what they've got or where they are. Something could happen on the day, either with the venue or with the Wi-Fi provider people. those people. Anything could happen. Anything could go down. So, make sure if you need to take payments, if you need to perhaps run a video, something along those lines, that you can actually do that without Wi-Fi. Yeah. There are all sorts of payment terminals and payment solutions that work off 4G, that sort of thing. Make sure that you have one of those. Otherwise, through no fault of your own, through no fault of the organiser, Wi-Fi isn't available. Yeah,
absolutely. And again, and if like me, your sign-up process is on a phone, then just go with the intention you're going to run it off 4G. Then there's no upset.
Yeah, or have a backup. Have a backup. Have like a piece of paper. If your sign-up process is online, have a sign-up sheet. Name, email, telephone number.
You can add them back.
And what they're going to get when they do it.
Plan B.
Yeah, so that you've got it. That there it is.
Online, offline solution. Whatever it is. Yeah.
Take that with you. What else? I think my tip for being at an event and actually people understanding what you do is presenting what you do in such a way that somebody can recognise themselves or they can recognise somebody else. Yeah. So, I don't know, let's just say for the sake of it, you're an osteopath. People may not know what osteopaths are. But if you're saying, hey, I help people who've got bad backs because they've fallen over, they will know if they're a person with a bad back because they've fallen over, or they will know somebody else they may know somebody who's fallen over who has a bad back. So, or if you're the other side of it, I help people who've got a bad back because they have an inherited congenital condition. They'll know that, or they'll know somebody who does.
Be specific.
Yeah, be actually really quite specific so that people can effectively put their hand up and go, say moi.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
That's me.
Yeah, they need to identify before they approach it, really, don't they?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say now. I'm looking at my notes. Don't look at your phone. Take a journal. Set your intent. We've done that. I think we've got a couple of minutes left. Fiona, what was your experience of that very first time network, sort of being there and exhibiting at that sort of event, and what will you do differently now?
I would definitely prepare more next time. And I will have.
In what way? When you say prepare more, I mean to me that's I'll fold my tablecloth several days.
Well, that as well. I get a tablecloth.
I'm going to iron mine.
Yeah, and make sure I've got coffee in the flask. When you say prepare more, what do you mean?
Just have an intention of what I'm going there for.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know, I didn't plan. I just literally walked around my cabin and grabbed stuff that I thought might be useful. And
right.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do, but now I've got more of an idea. I think. I think.
So that sort of like launchpad, that test thing of going along perhaps without too many expectations. Yeah. Because, there are lots of people involved here. There's the event organiser, there's the venue, there's you, there's other people coming in. And if it's your very first one, perhaps not, I'm going to sell 350, eyebrows.
No, I didn't have any expectations like that. My expectations were to make connections with people and have conversations, which is what I did. And I've got a couple of collaborations that have come out of it. So... yeah, it's quite successful, really.
Yeah, so I think you can make sales. You can make sales. You can meet new people to collaborate with. You can meet new people that are customers. You can learn stuff from other people. You may get some ideas for growing a business. Okay, on a practical level, is there something that you didn't have with you last time that you wish you had have done?
Ooh, probably a payment thing. I can't even think of it's got like a sum up.
Yeah. So think through your sales process.
Yeah. I hadn't done that at all. I hadn't been prepared because I don't think I expected to sell anything. But yeah, I definitely have that ready for next time.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's a bit like you, Fiona, I was talking, sponsoring and walking round. I hadn't briefed people who were covering my table properly. I'm going to do that next time. I'm going to brief them because I do walk around and I had other people and connections. So therefore, I bought a couple of people. As always, a bit like you, they couldn't read my mind. What are you saying, ladies? So I think I need to be should have briefed them, but I'm definitely going to brief them before because I needed some people to support me on the table. I wasn't clear on the brief.
And I think that's something else as well is, consider, can I take somebody else there? Because if you're talking to one person, if you're talking to somebody on your stand, there's somebody else stood there waiting, gazing into space, and it's like, do I stop having the conversation with this person? It's quite distracting for everybody involved if you've got somebody else there that can go, oh, Fiona's just busy at the moment, but what can I help you with? Is there anything that I can give you at the moment? Just to sort of take that, it's almost like guiding them away by the elbow so that it keeps them amused. You finish the conversation you're having in quite a nice way, because if you're not careful, the person that you're talking with, they know that somebody, they think, oh God, I'm taking up the time. Oh, okay, thank you, and they leave. And they leave because there's somebody sort of ghosting them. It is. I don't think they have to know all about your business because that's what you're there for.
Just like concierge. And
yes, a concierge. I tell you, we're going to be stuck. We're going to be stuck there now, aren't we?
And also, don't laugh. I took a couple of T-shirts to show people, and because the two ladies were helping me, I chucked the T-shirts on them because then they knew they were part of my table. Rather than two random people walking behind.
Yes,
I chucked the T-shirts on them.
Actually,
as well.
and that is a really, that's an excellent tip, because sometimes what I've seen at my smaller events where somebody, the person who's actually doing the do brings somebody along with them who isn't in branding, is that other people looking on think, oh, they're sat with someone.
Yes.
They're sat with someone. I won't go and disturb. They're sat with somebody. If that person is branded in the same way, they know actually they're part of the team. They're not sat with anybody. That's part of the team. That is that's quite critical, actually.
These T-shirts on. What? Yeah. Just wear them. Yeah.
Right. Look, I'll tell you what, by rambling along, we've got to the end. In fact, it's a good job we've got another show because we've run over. If this was under normal circumstances, we'd be off the air by now.
But we control it, we can.
So let's wind this up. Let's say, so Fiona Shoults from Microblading and More, tell us, how can people get hold of you?
Basically from Microblading and More. So on Facebook is Microblading and More, just as it is. And my Instagram is Microblading and More Fiona.
Brilliant.
I've got the website microbladingandmore.co.uk.
Super, thank you, Fiona. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts and your ideas and your experiences around getting out there at events. And we will be back at some point with Fiona, where we're actually going to be talking to her about what she does, which is making mainly women look good and feel good using makeup and aesthetics and all sorts of bits and pieces. So, I'm Sian Murphy. It's time for me to shut up. From my co-host Adelle. We need to sort of stop laughing and focus. We are going, and we will see you very, very shortly with another edition of the Women in Business Radio Show. More scripting needed.
That was our first format.
More scripting needed. Thank you, folks. We will see you soon. Bye.
Tune in next week to the Women in Business Radio Show for more stories, ideas, and inspiration to help you grow your business.